All right, I want to go over the difference between a negative and a positive externality. Negative externalities mean the production of this good, or it could be the consumption of this good, impacts those that are not producing or consuming the good. So if somebody smokes cigarettes, they are affecting, I'm a non-smoker, they're affecting me because they're polluting, because they're driving up health costs, so my life is negatively impacted because people smoke cigarettes. If a company is producing a product and they pollute the airways, my life is negatively impacted because of the pollution, whether I buy the good or not. So with a negative externality, we say there's a cost to society. There's a marginal social cost. Here, there's a marginal private cost. This is just how much it costs to produce the good. Society will say, here's my quantity that's socially optimal, and here's my price that's socially optimal. We need to raise the price here because you can't attack demand. So the only way to get people to stop consuming a product is make it more expensive. Making things illegal, regulating things doesn't always work, but if you make it more expensive, people will buy less of it. That's the law of demand. So in this case, in order to, actually before we regulate, the difference between where we're producing. Now it looks like there's a second supply curve. There's not. All we're saying here is this is the cost of society. This is where we're producing. This is where we want to be producing. Society wants to be producing. And who is society? It's the producers, the consumers, and the bystanders. So this is better for everybody. Producers, consumers still get to produce and consume the product, but there's less of an impact on bystanders. So this is my socially optimal level, which means this is my deadweight loss. In order to get rid of the deadweight loss, I can do one of three things. I can do a per unit, also known as a Pigovian tax. I can do a binding floor or a binding ceiling. Now, why a Pigovian tax is better or per unit tax is better is because we're saying this is the cost to society. So this green line is the actual cost to society. So by taxing, and we would tax to the value of the difference between MPC and MSC, that green line, we want to get that tax revenue. So every time someone smokes a pack of cigarettes, we can compensate me, a non-smoker, to how much my life is being impacted by that smoker. Now, on a positive externality, it's the same idea, but society is saying there's a benefit. And this is flu vaccinations, education. If you go and get flu vaccinations, my life is positively impacted because you're less likely to contract the flu and get me sick. So we want more people to get vaccinations, to get education. There are many positive externalities we can talk about. So here's the marginal private benefit, meaning when you go get a flu shot, maybe you deem the value at $10. But as we've seen, society, and this is the value to society, might say it's worth an extra $5 for you to get a flu shot. The difference between your quantity that we're producing in the marketplace, in this case there's an under allocation of resources because the private market's not producing enough, and the socially optimal, that is our deadweight loss. To fix this, we need a per unit subsidy, and that can be applied to the consumers or the producers, but what we're saying is we increase demand here. We demand more for society, so that's one way to remember it. The deadweight loss can be drawn on either triangle here. It doesn't matter one or the other. And the deadweight loss exists in the presence of an externality because we're not producing at the socially optimal quantity. In the negative externality, there's an over allocation of resources by the market. The private market is producing too much of this good. In the positive externality, there's an under allocation of resources. The marketplace is not producing enough of this good.